Hello, Void. Okay, this one's a little creepy. I'll give it that. Terrified, also known as Aterrados. Probably saying that terribly, and I apologize. I'm not a native Spanish speaker. I'm not even a bad Spanish speaker. Anyway, Terrified is an Argentinian film set in Buenos Aires and follows essentially a small neighborhood that's being overrun by paranormal activity. Um, it kind of starts with a man coming home to his wife, who seems to be a little freaked out by some noises she seems to be hearing from her drain. Later that night, he finds her floating in the shower, slamming against the wall, blood everywhere, and dead. And away we go. So his neighbor seems to be so sure that there's something in his house that he's trying to get someone to come, please take a look at this. As he keeps glancing nervously under his bed. Nothing's there, but as the camera pans back down, you'll see this twisted, naked figure under his bed that wasn't there a second ago, who may be also lurking in his closet. Hitting all the primal fears, ain't you there? And meanwhile, another local woman whose son got just briefly exposed to this and wandered and then stumbled into traffic. Well, his body showed back up in her kitchen that morning, and they keep swearing that body moves. Well, a retired cop, and a paranormal investigator are called in to essentially figure out what's going on and why, while trying to keep a lid on it. I will say, by the end of the movie, I'm not even sure what's going on here. It's clear there's some sort of, they put us in like an infestation, like a bleed in reality, and some things are pushing through. Now, can't tell if some of these are supposed to be just dead people, like ghosts, like the kid, but they also seem to indicate that there's something else, as there's some very non-humanoid entities that are reaching through and attacking, and the people who die seem to just get back up changed and a bit mysterious. It's kind of a horrifying film at times, especially since some of the things seem to be there or not there, just depending on what angle you're looking at, or whether it's there in the light or not, or in the darkness. And there's definitely a lot of tension and suspense, and this movie does pull things off pretty well. I was getting a little nervous watching this one. It was decently creepy. I will say, now in my new home, it is a lot longer to walk from my bedroom, here, where I usually watch my late night movies, to the bathroom, which is on the other side of the house, through long hallways. Gets a little creepy at night. Not gonna lie. And this movie, I will say I was a little creeped out. So, Terrified, I gotta give some props to. Yes, there's a lot of CG here, but they never linger on it long enough for it to be too bad. Practical effects would always have been better, but they do an okay job. And I will say the few jump scares that are here are effective. You don't usually expect them and see them coming, particularly in what happens to the paranormal investigator. I was not expecting that. Yet she's still talking later. There's a lot of cool things of who can actually see what and whether or not something's actually there. There's a lot of good creepiness to this film. The effects are pretty well done, and when there is gore, can be a little unsettling. So, yeah, I liked this one. I do recommend Terrified. I think it is currently being remade, but I don't know how well that's gonna go for a movie like this. But who knows? No. It came out 2017, and MacGuffin-wise, I'll give it 7 MacGuffins. Yeah. I mean, it's not great, but it definitely had a lot going for it, and it creeped me out, so I have to give it a positive review based on that alone. If it's creeping me out, it's generally worthwhile. Well, that's about all I got on this one. Take care, Void, and check this one out. It's worthwhile. The poster is a little 50-50. It just shows like a the upper half of a naked man that's been like cleaved in the middle, just staring. It looks sort of human, but not quite. Don't let that turn you off. That looks a little cheesy there. The movie itself is pretty good. All right, take care, boy.